If you're an Aussie and you've got no mates, there is one surefire solution. Buy a ute, add a swag and a blue heeler, and you're a starter for just about any B&S ball. They're also pretty practical, and there are never any complaints from the back seat. Here to walk us through the entire Falcon ute range, CarAdvice road tester, Paul Marrick. So Paul, is there a place for the Aussie ute?
Absolutely. You could never get rid of the Aussie ute. You'd be doing an injustice to the Australian people. And when you think about the cab chassis starting at 1,280 kilos worth of payload, it's a real workhorse as well.
Now the price range for the ute, it's a big stretch, isn't it? Because the base model's just over 30, and then the Circle Work Special with, 310 kilowatts and 565 newton metres from FPV, it's just under 60. So there's a big spending spree and a big spending range on offer.
You're absolutely spoilt for choice there. Whatever your purpose is, they've got a solution for it, whether it's, carting around the goods or, as you said, doing the circle work. There's everything there for your likes.
There's a lot of choice in the ute market, but is the Falcon still a solid proposition for a tradie?
Yeah, I think it still is. The Falcon has that styling aspect about it when you look at the ute. You can get the style side, you can go the cab chassis, or if you want to be outrageous, you can go the FPV models.
Okay, but talk us through the engine range.
Well, look, you can basically start with a 4-litre inline 6, and now the 6-speed ZF is standard across the range when you're not optioning a manual. You then go to the 4-litre turbocharged 6 in the XR6 Turbo, and then you move on to the FPV models, which include soon to be a new V8 model from FPV and the colossal 4-litre turbocharged 6 in the F6.
That FPV F6 with 565 newton metres and 310 kilowatts, it's great in a sedan. It must be deadly in a ute.
Well, with leaf spring suspension, it's bouncing around half the time. So once you get the power down, it shoots like a bullet.
What's the cattle dog going to think, right?
He's scared half to death half the time.
Well, he probably won't be complaining. But doesn't the Falcon ute enjoy a big safety advantage over the Japanese?
Well, the Falcon now comes with a 5-star safety rating and now comes as well with stability control, which is something that's been missing from workhorse vehicles for such a long time. So it's great to see that it's finally been implemented and is standard across the range.
Mate, if you had to drive one model away now, which one would it be?
Look, you lose load carrying capacity the more performance oriented you go. I think the XR6 Turbo is the perfect middle ground. You still get that ripper engine, it's got great gearbox as well, and you can still carry just over 500 kilos worth of payload. So it's the perfect compromise between, doing your work and having a bit of fun.
Now that reduction in load carrying capacity, that's purely the result of the different tyre spec, isn't it?
And also the suspension. So you get a sportier suspension tune on the sports models such as the XR6 Turbo in comparison to the over 1 tonne cab chassis.
I guess the other big question there, if you rule out the Japanese utes, is the Commodore versus the Falcon. Now, some people will be culturally disinclined to even compare them, but if you did, why would you buy a Commodore and why would you buy a Falcon?
The upshot with the Commodore is that it's got independent rear suspension, so you get car-like handling with the ute load carrying capacity. Problem there is that the Falcon has more load carrying capacity because of its leaf spring suspension arrangement. So while the Commodore might handle, much better than the Falcon has that compromise between, throwing all your work gear in the back and then having a bit of fun on the weekends.
And you get the different backs on the Falcon as well, whereas there's only one with the Commodore.
That's right. The Commodore is just style side. The Falcon has cab chassis and style side as well. So you're sport for choice.
Thanks, Paul. That was Paul Marrick. Circle work and practicality, what's not to like? You can read the Falcon Ute review online, download the specifications, add your comments, even get a quote from a Ford dealer. Just follow the links on this page.